watching the Niner game. Um, it always, every time I watch football, I think back about teaching Pop Warner. Now, I've done a video about this before, but it's 6-on-6. We didn't even have that many games. I think there was only going to be like 6 or 7 games, and it's one of those moments that I have to say it was one of the most satisfying, joyous moments of my life that made me feel useful to the world. And all 8 of my kids were the rejects. You know, the guy who never gets picked because he's short, fat, and unathletic. And everyone picks on him. I also had the other end of that spectrum. I had the athlete who was a complete and total flip off the fucking teacher, that kind of shit. He was my quarterback. What an arm that kid had. But he also had mental issues too, struggling, you know what I mean? I never really delved into any of that with any of my kids on my teams. What I told them is that all of these teams that we're going to play this year, they're going to underestimate us to a point that's going to cost them. And you see, this other guy, I got to say it, man, this fat slob was a prick. He didn't know anything about his kids. I don't even know if he knew all the names of the kids on his team. And he was the head director of the Pop Warner thing that went on in Rodeo. I bet, and I know those kids still remember that game. 14 touchdowns to nothing. 14 touchdowns to nothing. And it was really simple. I simply had index cards, okay? We had 4 basic plays, and each one of those plays had 3 variations. And every kid on the team, okay, knew what those were. So we would practice. Everyone would get this set of cards. Here you go. And I took pennies and I drew circles to show them where they would be. And their position was filled in. The others were hollow. And I simply had an arrow, okay? When the ball is hiked, your arrow goes over to this guy, and that's who you're going to block. Okay? So on fist 1, what do? I blocked this guy right there. It was so simple for them, and they picked it up immediately. And they started, after a few repetitions, they saw how easy it was. That it really wasn't that complicated. It was just variations of a play that 1 minute they might be on this end, 1 minute they might be on this end, 1 minute they might be a running back. And then of my quarterback, of course, he was slick as shit. He could turn around and fake a handoff and have the ball hanging down here by his side and fool every one of them. They were all chasing this guy over here. And in the meantime, my little chubby kid who everyone picked on and no one gave respect to and was the last one to be picked, he's running down the far left sideline and my quarterback would just drop it right into his arms. Now, the first pass he dropped, and he came back and I said, don't you worry about that. I said, you were just excited, weren't you? I said, you knew you were going to get a touchdown. You got overly excited. I said, let me tell you something, okay? And the whole team is here. We're together. I said, you're going to get 3 touchdowns tonight. You're getting 3 touchdowns tonight. I don't care how many you drop. You're going to get 3 touchdowns tonight. Never dropped another pass. Never dropped another pass. He got a running touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns. And everybody enjoyed it. My reject team was behind everything that we were doing. They were a true team. They were a team. They loved it when he got a touchdown. And the problem is we had 14 touchdowns to nothing. They had nothing. So this slob of a coach who was just, I don't even know why he was there, really, to tell you the truth, okay? Because he was a total fucking asshole. And he demanded, and he came over and he was mad at me because we're pushing points, we're piling on. And I said, we're not piling on. I said, we're not piling on. I said, at this point, we're simply running plays. I said, you should have coached your guys better. You see, what you thought of us was you were just going to come and kick our ass because every single person on his team, other than my quarterback, okay, was bigger than us. They were also slower and poorly trained. Okay? They had no idea when I would have kids cross-blocking like this. You see, they were lined up across this guy, and they thought that this guy here in front of them, well, that's the guy that's going to block me. Why? Well, because that's how he'd been teaching them. They didn't know this guy was going to pull over here and block for my runner. They had no concept. They had no ideas. And it was really simple. Fist 1, fist 2, fist 3, fist 4. Different variations. One left, one right, one with this guy, one with that guy. And I told everyone on the team, I said, we're all getting touchdowns tonight. And they all did. And I'll guarantee you they all remember that game because he came over and demanded our plays. He said, I want your plays. And I'm like, what do you mean you want my plays? He goes, I want your plays. And at that point, I'm pretty sure I dug myself a hole because I told him it had nothing to do with plays. I said, you're just a shitty coach. I said, you're a shitty coach. You didn't care about these kids. You're here for your ego, not for theirs. And the little kid, okay, the little chubby kid that we made sure got touchdowns, his dad came over to me and thanked me. He said, thank you so much for doing that. I said, hey, man, he made every practice. He made every practice. He deserved every bit, every one of those touchdowns. I said, he earned those. We didn't give him anything, okay? He showed up for every practice. He knew every play. He knew exactly what to do. I said, we all got touchdowns. But I'll guarantee you, because I told him, I said, listen, when you cross the goal line down there, I want you to slam this football. And when he did, he looked like a fucking superstar. And I still have that look in my mind when he crossed that line and he just slammed that ball down on the ground. And his whole body language was like fucking all-star college #1 draft choice. It was fucking awesome. And I still remember that to this day. And it's one of my most proud moments in life. I really loved coaching, but at the same time, the clickiness and the bullshit and the egos and because I like teaching, I love teaching, especially kids because they're not a full cup, you know, they're willing to listen. One of the reasons I like teaching golf to kids other than adult men, my problem with teaching golf to adult men is I have heard come out of their mouth so many times, but I read, or I heard, or I was told. I'm like, well, you know, I guess this is not going to work out for us. And I also had a rule, and everyone who's ever been on my page has heard me talk about it before. I would give you 6 hours of instruction, and after that, everything for the rest of your life is free. I'm not going to sit here and milk you constantly like these other fucking no good goddamn shitty golf instructors we had in our town. You see, you can tell I didn't get along with them and they didn't get along with me because I told their students after 2 hours of instruction, I fixed this guy's slice. He was up at Gold Hills Golf Course for 4 fucking years and they couldn't fix his slice. In 2 hours, I had him hitting a consistent draw. And he goes, man, he says, and I said, listen, I want you to go back up there and tell him you want all your money back for the fucking golf balls you spent up there and your golf lessons, $75 an hour. I charge $25. I said, and if you ever need a tune-up, if you're ever having issues, I said, call me and I'll be welcome to help you out. There's no such thing as a golf swing. At certain points in a golf swing, okay, we want our club face to be in a certain position. At certain points in the golf swing, we want our weight to be in certain positions. I said, other than that, it's not very complicated. Golf swings just look different. You know what I mean? I always liked teaching, but adults were incredibly hard. Kids, I loved teaching the kids. That game, that game was just, it was one of the proud moments, one of the most heartfelt moments of my life was to have all those kids just kick the holy shit out of the other 7, whatever it was. They were the top team. We kicked their ass. 14 touchdowns to nothing. And he got pissed. And then I got pissed, told him to shove it up his ass. He was just a shitty ass coach. And I wasn't invited back the next game. They took all of my kids and spread them out amongst other teams, which they weren't happy about, but I told them, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Go have fun. Enjoy yourselves, right? You've learned a little something about playing on a football team. Fortunately, in Pop Warner, you can be quarterback, receiver, you know what I mean, and tackle, whatever. You could be any one of those things. You weren't really locked in like you would be at higher level high school, things like that, where you're going to be a tight end. We're going to make you a tight end. You're going to practice to be a tight end. You know what I mean? Yeah, teaching the kids and watching him spike that ball, man. It was such a beautiful moment in my life, and having his dad thank me because I knew he got picked on. I knew he was the most unathletic kid, and no one expected him to get a touchdown or kid. I don't even think they looked at him, which is why he was so damn wide open all the time. But it was really, really easy actually to get any of my guys open for a pass or to get them a running touchdown pretty much whenever we wanted, because we were just better. We were better. I got to take credit for that. I trained my guys to specifically beat the holy fuck out of that other team that had been basically treating us like crap, talking about us like crap, laughing at my guys before the game, laughing at my little chubby kid before the game, teasing him, pointing at him. Yeah, well, they weren't doing that after the game when he was kicking their ass. Yeah, one of the most happy, joy-filled moments of my life was watching him spike that football.